great.
Sarah, thanks so much for joining me, because you've got your gorgeous boy. You'll have to show. There we go. There's Louie. Now tell us all about Louie. How old is he?
Yeah, hi Ariel. So Louie is 5 years old, 5.5, and he's a Sprocker Spaniel, so he's very lively and very active. We've just been on a 5-mile walk this morning, and that's kind of average for us every day. So he's got a lot of energy. So he's
wonderful.
Yeah, I like to keep him nice and healthy with exercise, but also obviously his diet is really important as well.
Absolutely. And has he always been plant-based?
No, he used to eat kibble, and I would home cook him some food, but he used to eat I think chicken and fish, as part of his kibble. So for 3 years now he's been plant-based.
And what made you transition? What was your...
I became vegan a year before that, and I think when you slowly transition to a vegan lifestyle, you, I think, slowly move through everything in your life that you start discovering you can change and replace with a vegan alternative. And so Louie's, when it came around to Louie's diet, I had no idea about feeding dogs a vegan diet before. I really had no idea. I didn't know if it was healthy. I didn't know if there were foods available. And when I found out that it was really healthy and that there are foods available, I was so excited, because it just meant that I could be, fully vegan in terms of our whole household, and Louie too. So he's thrived since he became plant-based, and the vet's pleased with him. We have had a little hiccup this year, but that's more to do with the fact that he's a bit of a scavenger. And
I'd love you to tell us about that, because that's when you contacted me, because you were so upset. Your poor Louie was in hospital, wasn't he, at the vet hospital? So what did he do? If you just let us know what he did.
He was a bit cheeky, but also I do take responsibility for myself. He managed to steal a white baguette from the kitchen side, and he didn't just do it once. He managed to do it whilst he was staying with my parents, and it always seemed to be the same offending item. It was a white baguette at my parents' house, and then also a white baguette here at our house, and this was in the space of about, I think, 3 weeks. And there was also a slightly healthier little packet of rye bread, but still shouldn't be having it.
Wow. And does he just eat the whole thing? Because
I came home, and he's not on his own for long anyway, but I came home, and there's the evidence on the rug in the living room, and not a crumb left.
Wow. Oh, he loves he must have been so happy with himself. But obviously what he'd done to himself, he's given himself such a huge sugar surge. So his poor pancreas would have had to work so hard, because he's so little for a whole baguette in one go. Gosh, a complete carbohydrate. So he ended up was it, what signs did he have just before he went to the hospital?
So he started showing signs of being quite lethargic, and he was vomiting, and he just wasn't his usual lively self. And I think he vomited several times within the same day. So we took him to the vet, and they were really good. I think they thought it might have been a gastro thing. So he came home and monitored him closely, but then he vomited again, so I rushed him straight back, and then the vet told me that they'd have to keep him in overnight, which he's never been in the vet's overnight for. So that was upsetting.
Yeah, he must have been devastated. And I think they did do some blood tests, and he had a raised cholesterol and a bit of pancreatitis, didn't he?
That's right. Yes. And they kept him on fluids for 24 hours until he was rehydrated. And
Yes.
Yeah, but it was very worrying. It was very worrying. So I contacted you because I knew the vet would probably, well, he recommended to eat that the usual plain diet of white fish and chicken,
Yes.
and potatoes, and I knew I wasn't going to do that. but I also wanted to do the best for him, which is why I emailed you, and just, you were so kind, and I asked you lots of questions, and you were kind enough to just look into it straight away and basically give me the best information and share your knowledge with me, and I'm really grateful for that.
Oh, you star, because there's nothing worse than having your dog go into hospital for the night. Honestly, it's just the most heartbreaking thing, because with a child, you at least can stay with your child if you go to hospital, but with your dog you can't, and you just leave them, and you can't explain anything to them. So but equally, a pancreatitis is, it's one of the most painful conditions you can get with your dog, because what happens is the pancreas is a little organ that releases enzymes to help digest the food. And you normally get pancreatitis in dogs that are raw fed, actually. And it normally happens in dogs that are fed a diet of too high saturated fats. But Louie's case was completely different in that he's plant-based, but what he had done is he had completely overloaded his pancreas in one go. The insulin release that he had to have would have been huge to try and help digest the carbohydrate dose that he had. And I'm not making you feel awful here, because I know the whole thing must have been so emotional for you. But what happens, obviously, the pancreas becomes inflamed, but it starts to leak out those enzymes into the area just around where the pancreas is, which is in the abdomen. So actually the pain is overwhelming, which is why they have to stay in hospital, because they have to have pain relief. They can't eat anything, because you then want the pancreas to not work anymore. You don't want that. You don't want any more enzymes being released. So they have to have nothing at all for a good 24 hours. He recovered beautifully, because obviously he's such a healthy boy anyway, and you know the reason for it happening, which was ideal. And I think my recommendation was, when he got home, was something as soothing as a vegetable broth, just for him to drink initially. And it's a lovely one to make, and it's a bit like we would want if we had really sore tummy, or we were feeling quite nauseous. It's things like celery, carrots, fresh parsley, all and peas, all just boiled together, making a lovely vegetable broth. And then I think I also recommended, I'm not sure if it's to you, I've certainly recommended it to other owners, is to actually freeze portions in the freezer, in a little the freezer trays, little ice trays. So you've actually always got some available if you ever have a tummy upset and you just have to give them something just to cleanse and soothe their tummies, because vets will always rush to chicken and rice, or fish and rice, or scrambled egg and rice is always their sort of go-to, which obviously we don't want with our vegan dogs. But equally, rice is not the ideal thing to give at all to an inflamed stomach, or an inflamed such a happy boy
looking out the window.
I know. So that's why I love your story, because it just helps. It helps other owners who've possibly had this similar concerns with that. But also, I just loved what you said when you said how you turned vegan, and it's so true that you realize there's so many options for everything, isn't there? That you then turned him vegan. Oh, he's a wonderful, lucky boy.
Yes,
And
yes, lucky boy.
he is such a lucky boy. And the wonderful thing is, now his weakness. His weakness is bread, whatever sort, whether it's dry or
absolutely. I had no idea before this, because we're usually so vigilant with putting food away, and him not having any access to food, because he is a real eater. But these times, and it's bread, but honestly, really, I was really surprised. Sorry, that's the one coming in the doors.
He's doing his job.
He's doing his job. Can we get some Greta kibble.
Let's go and get some kibble, exactly. Well, you're just wonderful. Just keep doing everything you're doing. Those lovely long walks and the healthy food that he's having, just so good for both of you. Which, yes, and also being young as well, you're just doing everything right for the environment, aren't you? You're giving yourself
I feel, yeah, it's really satisfying to know that we're doing the best we can for the planet, for Louie, for the, you know, for animals all over the world, and yeah, we want to do our bit. Absolutely, it's really important to us.
Definitely, and as well, there's none of the concern of having anything raw and full of bacteria in your home. When he's on your sofa, he's going to have his saliva all over you, all over, and with plant-based, it carries no bacteria at all, which is just the loveliest thing.
It is.
So
it really is.
Every capacity as a family, you're safe.
We are absolutely, yes. And it's I really enjoy cooking for him as well. I thought I would find it just like another task to add to the long list of tasks that we already have, but when I'm cooking for ourselves, I'll do a little bit extra, which is what you suggested, or if what we're cooking isn't appropriate, then it's very simple to just make him a small batch of either lentils and vegetables with the supplement added as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and he loves it.
And he loves it, I bet. And it's such a bonding thing, isn't it? He just knows that that's for him, and he just, yes. But he's obviously, everything with him is his nose. He's got the typical Sprocker nose. He can smell every ingredient in the food.
Yeah, he can, and he gets so excited at dinner time.
I bet he does.
Yeah, and breakfast. Yeah,
and breakfast. Well done.
Food is everything.
Yes, and isn't it so satisfying? I love it when because our little dog's the same. He just adores his food. It's the most satisfying thing. You just know you're keeping them
making them happy through their tummy.
That's right. That's all we want. Keep him happy and well. And well, thank you so much for sharing that story with us, Sarah. I so appreciate it.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you.
Because it's just lovely to hear. I know it was emotional. I could see in your face that it took you back to that time, which must have been so distressing. But you're doing absolutely everything right. So I think for others to hear your journey and hear your story is just lovely. So thank you.